Yeah, it's the afternoon time here in Dublin, so good afternoon to all of you, but it's night time there, so I'll say good evening. Uh, it's the it's the meeting in series of exploratory action research, and today we have uh, the first group for presentation led by Persu Srestha sir. So on behalf of Nimlal Bhandari and Parista Rai, the the like you know uh, the topic of their sharing, or let's say after reading Jagat Kumari Giri's write-up, was "My students are not motivated in the class." You will briefly summarize them. You will present on your own way, and then later, if other group would present, then we'll go for Hotiraj or Pranay Kumar Gurung's team. If not, then we'll have some sharing sessions, and we have facilitators as yeah we have like the team of facilitators, Suman sir and Laksiman sir. Luckily, this time Suman sir is in Nepal. So any of you uh, who are interested in meeting Suman sir at some point of time, most probably when Suman sir will be available in KU with Laksiman sir, then you might arrange meeting. But again, communicating them well in advance. Sorry, I'm just talking this speed as well. But yeah, just to make sure, yeah, Suman. I mean, just to let you know that Suman sir is right now in Nepal, and probably as per his availability, you can meet, and then yeah, uh, ask some questions if you have as such, to make it more face-to-face communication as well. Uh, yeah, so the let's say the structure of the presentation I briefly mentioned, since we have already uh, ran out of time, nearly 15 minutes, by 15 minutes, so we'll try to wrap it up by 8 o'clock Nepali time. That means within 45 minutes itself. That's it. uh, yeah, as of so, is there anything to add up, Laksiman sir and Suman sir? And then later, yeah, we'll
I,
hand the
I,
floor over
I
to.
think that's fine. That's fine. So let us go slowly. Maybe other group. I have send a text to Pranay if he's around. I'll also text to Vatiraj. Maybe they might be struggling. So let us see. Okay, let's start then.
Yeah, just a quick note, sorry, just a quick note. Since today I'm at home and then I'm conducting this, yeah, we are running this platform, and yeah, on behalf of the entire AR team, since I'm, running this particular platform here, so you might find some disturbances by my child, or, and some background noise. In that case, please forgive me. That's it. Yeah, please carry on,
Okay.
Perso
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
You can share your PowerPoint slides.
Is it viewable, sir?
No, it's not.
It's not working.
Uh, it should have worked, I think. Or is it okay? Like, I will share on your behalf, and you keep on explaining, and probably I will know the transition. Then in that, yeah, is that okay? Will it be comfortable?
Okay, sir.
Okay. Can you see the desktop now, or can you see your slides here, Professor?
No, sir. I haven't been able to see anything, sir. Just it's like a screenshot in my on the screen of
Oh my
my
gosh.
lab. Uh, what happened? I don't know.
Uh,
Anyway, once I would like to exit and then I will enter, sir.
Yeah, yeah. In the meantime, what we would
Just
do is
ask
we'd like to
for that.
request. Is that okay, Lakshman sir and Suman sir? Like, we will be learning some of the
Um,
sharings by other people who'd like to chip in.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
Okay, then
Yeah.
I'll just stop sharing my screen. Yeah, back to the ER
Pushkar.
community. So,
Oh,
yeah,
Pushkar is here. Pushkar. Oh, oh. Okay.
yeah. Okay, anyone like Chit sir, Puskar Chaudhary sir, Santi Sharma ma'am, or Jivan sir, if you'd like to share your updates, please, you can switch on your microphone and start speaking or sharing the things. And we'll have again Puskar sir later for his presentation. Okay. Okay, Jiban sir. In that case, okay, could you share your updates then?
Hello everyone.
Yeah. Hello, Jiban sir.
Could
Hello.
everybody hear me?
Yeah, we
Could
can hear
everybody
you.
hear me? But I don't see any videos. I only listen. I could only hear the noises. Okay. Anyway, I'm Jeevan. I'm from Udaipur, and my issue is my students do not interact with the teachers actively. I'm encouraging students to ask questions, respond teachers' question, and take part actively in classroom discussion. But it's not quite easy. Therefore, I plan to explore the issue. Now I'm in the intervention period. Every day I have organized activity in two headings. First, I'm working to develop their confidence developing activities, and after that, rapport building activities. Now, every day I'm writing reflections. When I come back from my class, then I write a reflection of a page or two every day. And changes, I have not experienced such a large change. The change is not much great, but few changes I have experiencing, and I have all written that in my reflections. And after 10 or 12 days, after I finish 20-25 days of intervening actions, then I will stop writing the reflections, and I think I will write the final report.
Okay, that's good.
That's it, sir.
One suggestion, not just to you but everyone, is action research is not doesn't guarantee there will be a positive change. What you need to guarantee is you implement what you planned. Okay, and then keep
Yes.
recording what happens, reflection, data collection, everything, and then when the cycle is over, you did everything you planned, there was no visible change. Now you can
Mm-hmm.
analyze all your data, your evidences, and you will definitely see why the things did not work the way you planned. And you have to go into next
Mm-hmm.
cycle.
Mm-hmm.
With the learning that you have. So action research doesn't guarantee positive outcomes, but it definitely guarantees what you do plus the learning that you'll get from that intervention. Okay, so you should not repeat
Yeah.
it all. Yeah, yeah, it's just like that.
Yes, of course. Yes, yes, some changes I have experienced in my before I carried out this. Okay, before I carried out this kind of exploration, and before I did all these things, the students were really quiet, and whenever I asked question, all of these students remained silent. Only two or three who always sit in a first bench, responded my question, asked me question, and same thing repeated day after day. But nowadays, there are 62 students and 45 to 50 students every day they appear in the classroom. Out of them, 9, 10, 11, 12, the number have, though it's not much that great, but it's increasing. I have experienced it's increasing. And now I'm in the confidence building phase. And after this, I implement rapport building activities. I have planned to implement that. And after finishing confidence building and rapport building activities, then I'll go for the report writing phase. Okay, sir.
Oh, okay, okay, fine.
Okay. Yeah, Lakshman sir. Yes, thank you, Jiban sir. Now
Uh,
I could see
yeah.
Persu sir is back. So yeah, Persu sir, are you ready for your presentation now? I think it would work. Could you try?
Yes, sir, but now can you see my slides, sir?
No. Have you
No.
have you?
Uh,
Yeah. Please, Suman sir.
Sagunji, uh, I mean, is it all right if run his slides and Parsu sir gives you, instructions when it comes to transit to
Yeah,
another one?
yeah. Okay.
Next slide.
Let me try, Percy sir, and then let me know if you can see the slides that I would share through my desktop. Uh, yeah. Can you share? Can you see?
Okay, sir. Now I can see. I can see, sir. Now.
Oh, you could see. Okay. Yeah. Here we go.
Should I start, sir?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. It's me, Parsuram Shrestha from Italy. And we three are in our group, Parsuram Shrestha, Parista Rai, and Nimlal Bandari. And on behalf of my group, I'm presenting the paper today. Our group studied on My Students Are Not Motivated in the Class by Jagat Kumari Giri. And this is a brief study, so I'm going to present you the summary of our study. Next slide, sir. First of all, I would like to introduce the writer to you all. Jagat Kumari Giri is a secondary teacher of health, population, and environment science, and she works at Amar Jyoti Secondary School, Kalinchok, Surkhet, and she did this exploratory action research in class 9, and where she has 80 students. This is a very big class, and she did this research. Her problem was the class had 80 students, and students were not so much interested or motivated in study. And she also realized that they were making noise in classroom, and they were not paying attention to her, and she wanted to study that problem. And when she started her study, then she had the two objectives. She wanted to find out why her students were not motivated in her class, and then she also wanted to select effective techniques for making our class interesting. Next slide, sir. Next slide, sir.
Shogunji,
Yeah.
Sagun, sir. Next slide, sir.
Yeah. I have run next slide, by the way. Is it?
Next slide, please.
Yeah. I did it.
it's on
Okay,
methodology.
and Jagat Kumari Giri chose methodology for our exploration, and that was she first of all she collected data via questionnaire, and she made some questions in a questionnaire, and she collected data. Then after collecting the data, she did analysis, and then she made interpretation of data. And while collecting data through questionnaire, she had set some questions, basically 3 questions Ms. Giri had set. The question number 1 was, do you have learning opportunities in the classroom that you like the most? And list out the activities that you like the most in classroom. List out the activities that you don't like in the classroom. She had enlisted these questions in our questionnaire to ask to students. And she found out that for the first question, she found out that sometimes 63%, often 31%, and rarely 6%. It means our students only sometimes got opportunity to learn. And then for the second question, that she list out the activities that you like the most in the classroom. She got discipline as the highest, that was 27%, and the other activities also our students liked, such as discussion about the subjects, playing 13%, watching video 7%, singing 11%, Similarly, extracurricular activities 16% and reading books 9%. Next slide, sir. For the third question, activity that you don't take in the classroom, our students answered that most of them did not like unnecessary noise. That was 32% of the total answer. And then fighting, 24%, using rough word, 30%, not paying attention, 10%, and not obeying the teachers, 4%. So this way she collected data. And when she had collected data, then Ms. Giri interpreted the data, and she found out that her students actually wanted discussion on the topic. They also wanted playing games, watching videos, maintaining discipline, and extracurricular activities. But actually, she had not paid enough attention to all these things. She had joined of the class and explained the text. So that was our usual classroom conduct style of classroom conduction. And finally, she concluded that existing teaching style that she had been using was actually the real cause of students' demotivation in our class. Next slide, please. Then, after the collection of data and analysis, Ms. Giri planned for action, and she planned to include the activities like group or peer discussion about the subject matter, teaching through games, teaching through quizzes, teaching through debate, and teaching through opinion sharing. Such activities she planned for including in our classroom. Next slide, sir. Next slide, please. Sajan sir, next slide. Then finally, Ms. Giri reflected on our findings, and she reflects on the activities that she included, and she learned that first of all, as a teacher, we must know the students' interest, and then we must teach as per their interest or opinion. And then she also learned that she should design effective activities so that students will be interested in classroom. And finally, she concluded that teaching can be made interesting via exploratory action research, and there is no problem in classroom that has no solution. Means every problem has solution in exploratory action research. She found that. She concluded. Okay, thank you. Queries are welcomed.
Okay, I have got a query.
Yes,
after going through this report, which is presented in a sort of paper form,
okay,
it's actually a briefed. It's a brief version of the total report. Whatever
yes.
you got the picture of what she did and what came out. What
Yes.
is the takeaway for you from this? I mean, what perhaps you wouldn't have learned, you would have missed if you had not read this report?
If I had not read this report, first of all, I would not know that I could solve my problem in my classroom that I'm facing here through EAR, exploration research. I have solution to every kind of problem in my classroom in EAR, means exploratory action research, that I knew after reading this article. And then next, we think as teachers, we think that we may be right and we are doing the right thing in our classroom for the students. But on the through the process, I am as a teacher, and I may have to rethink about the activities that I am conducting in my class. So I must do the research and I must find out whether I'm correct or not. And I must also see myself through the student's perception. I learned that. So,
Okay, one more question. Um, so you learned a few things from there, which is very good. Um, Now we have presented a series of webinars. We've sent you a handbook. We've sent you the report, and almost every month we are giving you ideas. You are also moving on with us, which is very good. So,
yes.
where do you think you stand now in relation to the EAR as a cycle? Where have you reached?
Uh, I think I have reached to the phase of now uh, observation to the action. And right now I
Okay.
have implemented an action, intervention
Uh huh.
action, and I have been observing my students. Now I
Mm-hmm.
think very soon I'm going to be in the last stage of that.
Uh, Lakshman sir,
I
let's,
did
yeah, sorry. Yeah, please carry on, Professor.
first I did the research in
Yes.
a broad level, sir, but after all I realized that I could not do so much in that field, and then I delimited myself to only one class, and in one class I used questionnaire. Some questions I included in questionnaire, and I collected my students' view about my
Okay.
topic. And now I have included some activities so that I can encourage my students for speaking more, such as role playing, mingling, and discussion, debate, pair work. Okay, such activities I have included more and more, and I have been observing that my students are more focused to my lesson, and they are more interested, and they have started greeting me more, and I think they are happier now than before
Okay.
with me.
Thank you. Now, just two things before we move on. One, you can always improvise your action plan if things do
Yes,
not
sir.
go the way you planned. Number
Yes, sir.
two,
I did that.
please document everything. What you do, what your students say.
Yes, sir.
I mean, every day you run a class as part of action research. Please write a reflection.
Yes, sir.
Student produce materials, observation, sort of
Yes, sir.
notes there. Anything that you that happens that you do or that happens to you that students do that happens to them, please document, which becomes a powerful data for you to defend what you claim later what happened. Okay,
Yes, sir.
thank you so much.
I have maintained a diary, sir.
Very good, very good. Okay.
Every day I
Yes,
write in
Sagunji.
my diary, and
Yeah,
Oh, diary and plus recording everything, many things. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Sagunji, please go
linking
ahead.
to
okay,
what
sir.
Lakshman sir said about documentation, by the way, uh, other opportunity besides, yeah, the primary thing is definitely which defends your claims, no doubt. Other additional thing as well, which could really make you feel like you have disseminated in a wider audience is uh, since at the end we are also planning to, you know, publish a kind of ebook. So whatever you will be writing right now could be a good compilation later. So whatever you will be documenting right now will be a good compilation of good compilation later. Number one. Number two is if you are interested in, you know, making your exploratory action research as a journal article which can appear in some journals, let's say some other forums, then we are ready to help you in that case as well. So for that, like again, your documentation is required, by the way, the consent that you will seek, kind of ethical, you know, thing as well which you need to think of. So all these things, please go thoroughly. I mean, don't plan big right now. I mean, you start, you know, documenting right now, and later on we can, you know, compile this if we see your work as some kind of, you know, rigorous work which also has the potential to get published somewhere in, you know, widely, I mean, you know, kind of journal, in a form of journal article, then we might help in that case as well. Lakshman sir is there, I, Suman sir, so our little help can be
Yes,
really supportive. So this is not only the
yes, sir. I
message.
have started documenting. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry, Professor. Just before I forget, this is not, this is the message actually for everyone. Like right now, yeah, we are speaking on the basis of Persu sir's presentation, but this also can be applicable, or yeah, this is also message for everyone. uh, Again, yeah, either, yeah, over to either you or Lakshman sir if you have anything to add, or Suman sir as well. Yeah, okay. So Persu sir, uh,
Yes, sir.
Lakshman sir, do you have any? Suman sir, do you have any words?
I think as Lakshman sir suggested, it's a request to all the participants that please document all of the data that you collect, properly, so that you'll have the evidence to back up the claims that you make. The other thing, I think Sagunji hinted it earlier, that you need to think about the ethical practice when you do research. So I know we all know that you're researching your students in your classroom, but then one thing that if you're planning to publish, what we'd also like to know is, how did you get the ethical approval from your students? Did you seek consent from your school? Did you seek consent from your head teacher? So if you have any documentation or related to that, please document that as well. So as like Persu has said that he's got a diary where he's recorded his activities, what he's done, as well as doing that. If you could record your students, what your students say, the responses to the questionnaire, and if you interviewed any of your students or your colleagues, how did you record the data? Did you make notes during the interview, or did you record the interview? So all of those information about the methodology that you use to collect data, is also part of research. That's what makes your research more ethical, more valid, and more reliable. So at the absence of those things, when you make claims, we're not suspecting that you didn't do real work. It's just it's very easy to forget that these things need to be documented. So when these things are not documented well, people can always challenge you and ask you questions. Okay, show me the evidence. So make sure that it's not only to Persu sir, but to everyone, that please record your data, all of the data that you've collected, all the documentations that you prepared. Everything needs to be recorded, and the best place to record now is Google Drive or OneDrive. So it can be accessed from anywhere. When it's on the cloud, you don't have the fear to lose it. Yeah. And if you have any questions regarding that, feel free to ask us. I even have a nice bit of reading around how you do ethical, how you do classroom-based research ethically. So I can pass that to you if you're interested, any one of you.
Yes, thank you.
It's a short reading.
Yes, thank you, Suman
I
sir.
would be
Yeah.
pleased. I would be pleased to get that, sir.
Okay. So,
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
okay, Suman sir will provide that.
At first,
Yeah.
at the beginning of the research, sir, I just collected my participants' views in a diary, in an informal way, like journalists, take up some notes on it. I collected in that form. Then I started my research, and then I informed the principal, and he also showed his consent with me, and he said, "Go on." But his expectation was more than mine. Actually, I had thought of conducting research in my class only, in one class only. But he said it would be more beneficial to the whole school, and I did it. And he also promised me to help, but later on, when the result came out and I found out the research goal, then I declared it in the assembly hall with his suggestion. I did it, but later on, yes, I have returned the report and I have sent to you there. But later on, they were so busy that they could not help me properly, and then I realized that it was beyond my capacity to go alone, and actually they were not helping me so much as I expected. That's why I limited myself to only one classroom, and then I'm now freely doing it. And I have already informed all my students that I have been doing this kind of research, and I want to improve your speaking habit, as well as I want to do my research. Are you ready for that? I asked them, and they were so happy to know that I have been doing research, and they are keenly taking part in all kinds of activities that I conduct in a classroom. So they have also allowed me to take photos, but till date I have not taken any video, but I think I'm going to very soon, because they are so much participative nowadays in all kinds of activities.
Uh, yes, thank you, Pursu sir. A few things I would like to
Thank you,
highlight
sir.
what Pursu sir has done, and I would link it to Jiban sir and Santi ma'am's question as well, which you have got in chat box. Uh, yeah, uh, like when Pursu sir was speaking, like other people might be wondering, oh gosh, now the research. I mean, when we talked about ethical and all sorts of methodological things, you might be thinking it would be more complicated. The first thing is, again, I'm just trying to focus. The first thing we are just trying to focus, along with, yeah, Suman sir's point will be the same, I guess. Uh, Actually, yeah, since it's exploratory action research, like don't think it from uh, that perspective, like it's a kind of as such academic research. But by the term ethical, we here mean, like, if you are going to again produce it as a good report with your some evidences as well, at that time you need to have got some consent from your participants and so on. It can be oral consent as well, which you can write later, like I took oral consent prior to my exploration. The oral consent also can be the written consent. That's really good. I mean, written or oral consent could work. What do you think, Suman sir? Could you just, yeah, shed some light on it? Suman sir, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Just to add to your concern and also Jivan's concern. I think we didn't discuss the ethical issues in serious, when we began the research, because we didn't want to make the whole things complicated. Again, if you have informed your students orally, and if you've received oral consent from head teacher, I think we should consider it being ethically approved research, I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah. If everyone's informed, as even says, just send left a text message. If everyone's informed, that's all right. What we're saying is, if there are any documents, if you sought any written consent, we'd like to that it's in that case we'd like to see the document, because that just makes it even more transparent when it comes to making research decisions. So that's what we're suggesting. So if you haven't sought or if you haven't got any written consent, please don't worry about it, as long as your students were informed before you conducted the interviews.
Okay.
Yeah. Now there was another question by Santi ma'am, who said, my colleagues gave me oral suggestions only after observing my class. How can I document it? So
Suman sir, sorry, before I
yes,
forget,
Saganji.
because the point that I'm going to make is again related to the
Ethics.
yeah, ethics. So what I was thinking of,
Yeah.
sorry, did I forget, by the way? Yeah. Was it, sorry, I couldn't. Uh, it was about my colleagues. Sorry, okay, please carry on. Yeah, it just skipped from my mind. I don't know.
Okay, right. Okay. So Santi ma'am's concern is, my colleagues gave me oral suggestions only after observing my class. How can I document it? So the way to document suggestions from oral class was to, there were two ways. The first, you could have recorded it, asking your colleagues if they were okay, when if you recorded the conversation. So recording could have worked. It looks like you've already received the suggestions, or you could have made notes of the suggestions, at the point of the time when you were having conversations, or you could have recorded them in your diary as your reflection. So you could have done any of those three things. So I think that's what it is. So yes, Sagun sir.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of, kind of videos or kind of, pictures that you have taken as well in a form of, documenting your work. Make sure that,
No,
before, I mean,
sorry.
sorry,
Can I?
yeah,
Yes, Sagun is. I mean, it looks like Shanti ma'am's already been given feedback, by her colleagues. So, her concern is how could she document the feedback from her colleagues. I think video, yes, I completely agree with Sagun sir that video could have been a great tool, but then, yes, please.
I
I've
mean,
written on my own reflection. I think
yeah,
yes.
I mean, not to Santi ma'am's question right now. Sorry,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
It was
Yeah,
earlier
yeah, okay.
the ethical kind of thing which we were talking, and it just escaped from my mind earlier. What I mean to say, yeah, here is, if you have, if you have recorded the videos, or if you have, taken some pictures as well, make sure, like, before you use it for, some kind of publication, be it in the report itself or to upload in our website, which we have created. Yeah, at a time, their permission is, kind of, again, crucial. Right now, you have,
Yep.
let's say, you have got the, you have got the oral, let's say, the consent. So it's all right, but make sure, like, to publish them as well later, if you are thinking of, sending us for publication, or let's say publishing it in our website. So make sure that you get consent from them so properly. Even sometimes you also need to go to the parents in that case, because they are minor. So we'll be discussing later as well in this, kind of ethical kind of thing. Uh, yeah, whenever we go for disseminating our result. But yeah, right now, your focus is, yeah, the consent that you are seeking, which can be oral consent itself, and which you have shared as well. And right now, your focus is, like, how to implement your plans, and how to write the report of the implementation which you have done. Yeah, either to Lakshman sir or Suman sir, whoever want to add some points.
Um,
Um, Sorry,
yeah.
before Lakshman sir, yeah, I mean, with regards to ethics, the practice is you collect data before you seek. You seek consent before you collect the data. So you cannot go back and get consent after you've already done the work. So that's what it is. But because I think many of you, because Lakshman sir and both of us, I think stressed it a lot in the beginning when you're planning your research, that you go and talk to your principal, let your principal, your supervisor know that working doing this research. Let your students know that you're doing this research. So we feel that they've given you the oral consent. Now, as regards the written consent, I think what we can do is, if you are planning to put any of the videos or photos, in that case, please go and seek consent one more time. Yeah, Lakshman sir.
um, about the ethical concerns, I think that is one. The anonymity is very strict. You cannot,
Yeah.
particularly the children below 18, you cannot publicize their data without the written consent from parents or the school heads. And the other ethical problem that some researchers have or create a problem for themselves is, uh, in order to make their action research successful, they sort of force students to cooperate. Okay, so this is something that, we shouldn't be doing. We need to, I mean, a voluntary participation sort of thing. Okay, so that's something that I would focus on that. And then what else? Every time you take interview, you tell who you are and then what you're doing. So there, and then next is, you're not going to talk about children's behavior to others because they did something wrong, they made a mistake. No, I'm doing action research. So I mean, you can generally talk about all the children the way you used to do, but not specifying who you are talking about. Okay, so that is something you need to maintain. What else? I think that's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, we discussed quite a lot on ethics, by the way. So, uh, anyone like since we have some time, nearly 5 minutes. So I agree with you. Okay, yeah, okay. So anyone, if you want to share your update, the recent update, then you're welcome.
I see Chet there. He's not speaking. He's not saying anything. Chet,
Yeah, Chetshar or Santi ma'am. Persu, sorry, yeah, Persu.
No, Santi ma'am's been chatting. She's been sending messages, but she's not spoken.
Oh, okay.
Chetji, haven't heard from him. Don't know if he's listening to us.
Okay, if you have any questions, then you can put in the chat box as well. Otherwise, we'll uh, wind up today's session. I think like today's session became really, really effective in a sense. The first of all, the presentation itself was really wonderful, actually. So concise but captured entire things of the article written by Jagat Kumari Giri, and then presented by Persu sir, and later the questions which Lakshman sir asked prompted Persu sir to speak about the takeaways as well. It can be the takeaways for everyone, I suppose. And the ethical part which we highlighted, again, it's really important for your future research as well, whichever you will be carrying. And exploratory action research is more again cyclical. This is right now, it's a kind of loop input, and later on you will carry yourself. These are the things. It's more like recapitulation of what we talked. And one more thing again, because this has to be highlighted, since it's exploratory action research. Again, we would like to say it's not kind of academic research as such. So don't, whenever we talk about documenting work or ethical kind of thing, don't think like, oh, now it's gonna be quite a lot of work, and then don't have that kind of understanding as well. Try to take it simple, the way you would like it to carry out. But in the meantime, it's always good to document, and it's always ethical thing is, whenever ethical things basically comes when you try to publicize your work later. So it's good to think well in advance, like you have informed everyone orally, and to some extent, like if you are going to take some videos kind of thing, which is really sensible, like videos and photographs as well, which you are using for any kind of dissemination at a time. We also encourage you to take written consent as well. So don't make it more complicated, but at the same time, it's always good to have some understandings of some basic things like ethics and ethics and some kind of documenting work. So if you have any questions, then always you can put forward via email or via Viber group discussion as well. Yes, thank you. That's from my side. Now over to Lakshman sir and Suman sir again, and we'll wrap up.
I'll just stress on one thing. I mean, action research is something which you understand only by undertaking it. You are undertaking it, so you are getting some idea about it. So why not borrow the ideas from others? And we've given you two very good books. The book by Paula and Richard. I mean, it gives you a step-by-step guide on how to run it. And then this, the book that Janak Negi edited, I think that was a godsend for us, because we were struggling to give you a right sample, and then now it just came. So I suggest that please read all 9 reports, so that at least 1 or 2 will fall in the way or in the area that you are trying to look into, and that will give you some sort of affirmation or some sort of reassurance what you are doing, or why things do not go the way you planned, because it's nothing of your mistake. I mean, you don't need to blame or regret on something. If you plan something, if you just run it as you planned, I think you shouldn't be worried at all. So my suggestion is please read.
Yeah, Suman sir,
Yep.
final words.
I think no, everything's covered. I suppose we had a nice discussion about around ethics, Lakshman says, is I think highlighted the key messages that you all need to take care of, especially the resources that you have, in a bit, Sorry. Yeah, I think. Anyways, all right. Okay, so I was telling that there are resources at your disposal, and if you need more resources, please feel free to ask us questions. Yeah, and ask us any questions that you have. Yeah.
Uh, I can see Santi ma'am has dropped one question here. Uh, I'm taking weekly tests in creative writing activities for measuring their improvements. What can I do? Other activities? Uh, I couldn't get the context, by the way. So Santi, the
Sir,
suggest.
while talking about ethical issues, excuse me.
Uh,
Uh, while talking about ethical issues, while talking about written consent from the participants and principals, I think it would be much better if we got a kind of form or document from Action Research Nepal, sir. That would be more authentic. Because if we tell our principal orally, or if we tell our participants orally, then they won't understand. Uh, Sorry, that is not
Okay, we
effective,
have
sir.
Otra. She's coming now. Um,
Yeah, please carry on.
So I think if we got any kind of document or form prepared by Action Research Nepal, that would be more authentic, sir. And we could show that, and then we could easily get consent from principal. I think so, sir. It's my opinion, sir.
Suman sir and Lakshman sir. So, in that case,
yes.
is it okay? Like we have some kind of. I mean, we have developed ethical firm when we're talking ourselves. So, can we just develop an ethical firm for our let's say mentees? Actually, it will be like right now more like to collect to collect videos and other recordings because you have already collected other data earlier. So at this point, only the written consent that will be useful will be to collect.
Um,
I mean, yeah, yeah, sir.
so, I mean, what do we want? A proof that they are doing action research, or a document that they will get signed by the participants. Which one?
No, I mean, as just sorry, I didn't put the things clearly. I think I suppose like as Professor is making some remarks right now. Like it would be really good to have EAR template for the consent. So at this point, actually, as they have already got the oral consent earlier before collecting data, and if they are seeking right now, my point is it okay like we develop some kind of written consent form and send to everyone, and if
Yeah,
they
yeah,
want to
yeah.
use it,
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they are expecting for us to give them a document which explains what they are doing, and the participant will read it and sign it, or an elder person on behalf of the participant will read it and sign it. Yes.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Let's take 1 or 2 days and
It's
send them. Yes.
I think it would be more authentic, sir. It's so.
Yeah.
Then
Okay.
when we tell them to give written consent, then they are either verified, or they think we are doing something extraordinary, or they start doubting on us, sir, for written consent.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
sorry, let
So
me
you
chip in.
mean
Sorry.
so you don't want? Okay.
Sorry, sir.
Do you want? Yeah, that's what the
No, you
concept.
don't.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
please, sorry, yeah, please carry on.
No,
No,
orally I
I
can
felt
get
that
consent from orally I can get consent from my participants and my principals, sir. I've already got it, but how to
Okay.
show it legally, that's my problem, sir. If they raise any
okay.
future, or if they they just raised any kind of issue, then I have no way to tackle that. So it's my problem, sir. But I have
Okay.
recorded everything, no problem. I can collect data, I can do all the things I must do. And even they have already given me oral consent. My principal has also agreed on me. But I don't have any authentic document to show him or to participants. I did it just on my own, effort. So it would be more authentic if we got any kind
Okay.
of such document.
Okay. We'll send you one.
So in the meantime, your other point
Right.
earlier when you said like they can be horrified, what exactly do you mean? Because like I mean, when we'll create the
Uh,
written consent template and we'll send you, and once you go to your participants to collect data, we heard like you
no,
said
sir.
yeah.
No, sir. If we got any kind of template or document with Action Research Nepal's name there, then it would be easier for us to show them and then convince them.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if I talk to them about written consent, then they will doubt on me and they will think that I'm doing something.
Okay,
Yes, I may be
Yeah, yeah.
doing something that may have
yeah, we got
they
it.
may doubt me in me, and then I will have difficulty to collect data, even
Okay,
data.
we
We'll give you
Right.
one.
Okay.
Don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah, okay, done. Any other
Okay,
questions,
sir.
please,
Thank
from
you.
anyone? So now we'll wrap up then. It
Yep.
seems no questions. So Hoti sir, actually it was presentation of your group today as well, but we couldn't see you if you are hearing us. Uh, it
I think he just left the meeting. Yeah.
okay,
Can't see in the audience.
okay. So we will will again send the message for the entire. Sorry, my question. Okay, Santi ma'am's question, and the question. Could you repeat it again? I guess we missed it.
No, her question is no. I can read her question. So Santi ma'am's question is, give me a minute. It's I'm giving weekly test in creative writing activities for measuring the improvements. What can I do other activities? So she's asking, what other activities that she can do other than giving creative writing tests. Lakshman sir, any opinion on that?
I mean, why test? I don't know, because we should be teaching to learn, not not teaching to test. I mean, why not turn the test into activities and tasks that they do creatively, that they do together with others collectively? I think my suggestion is, instead of calling it a test and designing in a test style, why not develop this as an activity style?
Good suggestion. Yeah, Santi ma'am. I guess
Um,
yeah.
then I'll just
Uh,
suggest one thing. I
Sorry.
mean, you
Okay.
you just Google Alan Malik creative writing ideas, and then you'll get loads and loads of ideas how to run them. Maybe that way you can develop not the tests, but maybe tasks. Alan Malik creative writing ideas.
Can I just add one more thing to what Lakshman sir just said? I think your intervention activities have to be guided by what you found in your exploration, phase. So Santi ma'am, other than like, I completely agree with Lakshman sir, and I stress on that. But also be mindful of what you've uncovered from your exploration, and what activities you include to address those challenges that you found.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Any
Right.
questions? Then we'll
Okay.
yeah. Actually, yeah, we have already yeah. It's already ten
Gone
minutes.
10 minutes
10 minutes
past.
so far. So thank you so much. Okay. Thanks a lot. So if you have any questions, again, we have email or the Viber group discussion as well. Even in Edmodo,
Yep.
we scan your postings in Edmodo as well. You also can post there, so we can remain in contact via any means, whichever we have been adopting so far to communicate with you. That's it,
Okay. Yep.
and we'll inform
All
you
right.
about the next presentation, like Hoti source and other presentation, whoever will be ready later after 2-3 days. And in the meantime, we'll also then we'll decide like whether we'll continue this same group meeting as well or we'll go for the webinar. but group meeting has been effective, so we might
Yep.
continue this group meeting. That's it.
Right. Yep.
Now, yeah, anything to add up? Or
All
sorry,
right. No, I think that's it. Lakshman sir, do you have anything to add?
Nothing. We'll not wait for 1 month. Actually, we'll be around very soon.
Yep.
Because we are nearing the completion. So suggestion to the participants is please collect data or compile data and then start writing a report. I think you've already done some bit, but we will come back with a final report submission template format. So just wait for that.
thank you, Lakshman sir and Suman sir, and thanks especially today to
So it's
Yep.
done, I think.
Persu sir.
Yep.
Yeah, it was really wonderful presentation again. So we'd like to see such presentation from other presenters as well in the upcoming days. Yes, thank you. Bye.
Bye.